We hear more and more every day about privacy and data collection, and if you're a Windows user, you know what that means. But this little USB device right here can make you virtually invisible online. It's anonymous, untraceable, and leaves no digital footprint. And if you want to know how good that works, just ask somebody who knows. This is Edward Snowden. He's a former National Security Agency intelligence contractor and whistleblower who leaked classified documents revealing the existence of global surveillance systems that our government is using against us. And how was he able to be a whistleblower and not get caught by our government? Because he used a little operating system called Tails that runs on a flash drive. As a matter of fact, he said in 2013, when a small team of journalists and I went head-to-head against the NSA to reveal the secret system of global mass surveillance, we used Tails to communicate to reduce the risk of basic but deadly mistakes. So I think when it comes to privacy, Edward Snowden probably knows what he's talking about. The best part is it's 100% free, and you can do it too. But it's not without some drawbacks. Hi guys, my name's Scott Merrill. I've been in IT for almost 35 years, and what I do on this channel is give you Windows tips, tricks, troubleshooting, reviews, and in some cases, Linux. But one of the things that I absolutely love doing is giving people recommendations when you need to buy a new computer and you're not sure where to start. There's a link in the description. If you click on that and fill out a quick form, it sends me an email and it allows me to laser focus and find you exactly the machine you want for your budget. It's 100% free. I'm happy to do it. Tails stands for the Amnesic Incognito Live System. It runs entirely from a flash drive and stores everything in your computer's memory. And what that means is when you turn your computer off or remove that flash drive, everything you've done disappears, untraceable. So who is Tails really designed for? Well, if you care about privacy, you can see there's some other people out here who actively recommend it, including the Tor Network, Edward Snowden himself, and the Electronic Frontier Foundation, all of which are extreme privacy advocates. As a matter of fact, Edward Snowden said, if you look at the way post-2013 whistleblowers have been caught, it's clear that the absolute most important thing you can do to maintain your anonymity is reduce the number of places in your operational activity where you can make mistakes. Tor and Tails still do precisely that. Okay, so you know what Tails is, so how does the Tor network actually work to help with privacy? Well, think of it this way. When you connect to your internet provider sees all the traffic that goes out from them and everything coming back. In other words, it's full visibility. But the way the Tor network works is when you send traffic through the Tor client, very much like your traditional web browser, your traffic gets relayed through what are called nodes. There's an entry node, a middle node, and an exit node. And every part of the process from the beginning up to that very end is encrypted. Part of the reason the anonymity works is because those three nodes are constantly changing. Those are basically just computers that are somewhere on the internet serving as relays. So when you send traffic through the Tor network, you're never going to get the same three nodes at the same time, which basically completely hides you. One node only knows what the previous node told it, or the one that it's sending traffic to, but it doesn't know the other two. The most important thing is that unless you control that exit node and you know the entry node, there's almost no way that anyone can see what you're doing on the Tor network. And that's one of the reasons people like Edward Snowden use it, because it is truly anonymous. Now here's the downside. Because you are routing traffic through potentially multiple continents anytime you go to the web, it's extremely slow. Downloading files is going to be extremely slow, and cloud services are going to be almost non-existent. But it's not designed for speed. It's designed to protect you. So should you use Tails every day for your typical activities? Probably not. You can't install software permanently. There's going to be no hardware acceleration, so forget about online gaming. Some websites like Gmail and your online bank may block your connection if they detect it's coming from a Tor client. And there's really no file storage unless you set up what is called persistence. And I'll explain that in a little bit as I show you how to set it up. Now, all this sounds kind of shady and scary, right? And possibly even illegal, but it's not. The best part is Tor is 100% legal. You can browse the web just like you would do with any other web browser on what we call the clear net, meaning the internet that you use every single day. The only difference is this is going to guarantee you anonymity and privacy. The bigger question is, who would use this? Maybe political activists who want to organize a stand-in on their government, or possibly a whistleblower like Snowden himself, who need to make sure that any of those people with the three-letter agencies can't actively track what he is doing. Or maybe you're just someone who's extremely concerned about privacy. In some situations, you're trying to escape a domestic violence situation and you need to go on the down low to make sure that if someone's watching what you're doing, they can't see anything that you're doing in an effort for you to try to get out of that situation. So the first thing you need to know about the minimum requirements here, you really should be using it on a machine that's 10 years old or less, and it is not going to run on a tablet or a smartphone, and it might not work on some older computers, especially if they have less than 2 gigabytes of RAM. But if you've got a computer that's relatively new, you should be fine. You're also going to need an 8 gigabyte flash drive or a DVD. If you need a recommendation for a flash drive, I'll put a link in the description for you. And again, this is an 8 gig minimum. Now, if you're not going to be storing any personal data on this flash drive, for example, if you're a journalist and you're writing a story, if you're not going to be storing anything, you really can get away with an 8 gig drive. If you are going to be doing a lot of work or have a lot of documents, or if you're a whistleblower and you have a lot of photos or anything like that, I would recommend a larger flash drive, 16 gig, maybe 64 gig. For most people, an 8 gig should be fine. And you can go to the Tails website right here if you want to take a further look and see what all is necessary to install it. So the first step in the process is to plug your flash drive in, and be aware that anything that's on this drive is going to be deleted, wiped forever. So make sure if you have anything important on it, you back it up first, because it will be wiped. So as you can see, I just plugged the drive in and it shows up right here as drive E. So the next thing I want to do from the Tails website is I want to click on Install Tails up at the top. Now in this case, you're going to choose your operating system, either Windows, Mac, or Linux. I'm going to choose Windows. And then I'm going to scroll all the way down to the page where I can click on Download Tails USB image right here. And the file is pretty large. It's about 1.6 gigabyte. So just go ahead and click on that. Then at this point, you're just going to want to save it to your download folder. Okay, and you can see here that the file has completed. So the next step we want to do to make sure that you're getting a 100% legit, safe version of Tails is scroll down here and click Verify Your Download. And then you're going to click Select Your Download to verify. And we're going to select that Tails file that we just downloaded and click Open. And then what the website's going to do is it's going to just make sure that that is a clean, uninfected, unadulterated version of the software. This may seem like a little inconvenient, but trust me, if you're concerned about privacy, this is a very important step. Okay, so as you can see right here, it has passed verification, so we know that this version is clean. We have to do one other thing, and that is to create the bootable Tails disk. So step 3 of 8, you're going to download Rufus. Go to this section right here and just click Download Rufus for Windows. Again, you can just save it in your downloads, and now we have that downloaded. Now the next step is we're going to open Rufus, and in this update notification, just click No. So the next screen that comes up, it should recognize that flash drive. And again, you see here, it's drive E. Then what we want to do is go click Select on the right, and then we're going to select that image file that we just downloaded. Go ahead and click that and click Open. Once you've done those two things, just click Start. It's going to warn you that all the data will be destroyed. So again, if you have anything important on here, make sure you remove it or back it up somewhere else, because it is going to wipe this flash drive. Once you have all of that safely done, go ahead and click OK. Then what it's going to do is it's going to start writing that disk image to the flash drive. This may take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, so just be patient. All right, so that took about 3 or 4 minutes, and then once it says ready right here, you can go ahead and close that, and now your flash drive is ready to boot. So I've got my Tails drive plugged into my laptop. Now what I want to do is restart the computer and tell it to boot to my flash drive first. Now you can either do that through keystrokes on your keyboard, usually F1, F9, F12, something like that. Or you can just go into your BIOS and tell your BIOS to make the flash drive the first bootable device. Either way, what you want to do is boot to that device instead of your regular operating system on your computer. So once you boot to that flash drive, you're going to see this screen here, and if you just leave it there, it will start loading Tails automatically. Now the installation process does take a few minutes, so just be patient and let this happen in the background. You're going to see a lot of stuff that you're not familiar with, but again, this is running an entire operating system off of a flash drive, so it does take a while. Now eventually you're going to get a blue screen like this, and this is what's going to come up. It's going to let you select your language, your keyboard, and anything else like that. Now, this checkbox right here about persistence, that's what I was talking about as far as storing files on your computer. If you don't need that, uncheck that, and then just click Start Tails. Now, first thing you're going to need to do is connect to the internet. Obviously, a wired connection will be much faster, as well as preventing anyone from accidentally intercepting your traffic. So a wired connection would be ideal. But if you're at a relatively safe place, then you could just use the wireless if necessary. But again, speed is going to be the most important thing, so a wired connection would definitely be faster, especially considering how slow the Tor network is. You have two choices on how to connect to Tor. One is just to do it automatically, or to hide your local network that you're connecting to. Most people are going to use the connect automatically. That is the easiest way. If you want more information, you can definitely click on here and it will explain the differences and what they might mean for you. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and click connect to Tor. And remember, this is going to be routing traffic through multiple relays around the world. So internet is going to be much, much slower, but the advantage is complete privacy. Now I'll get a message here saying you can now browse the internet anonymously and uncensored. You click Start Tor Browser, and that's it. You're now surfing the web anonymously. And as you can see, websites pull up just like they always do. The only difference is you are hidden. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. You can go to iplocation.net and it does basically a lookup on you to see where you are. And if you look here, it's showing my location is Amsterdam, which I am obviously not in. So this is right here telling you that you are surfing completely anonymously. Now, if you want to take your anonymity to the next level beyond using Tor, you can use DuckDuckGo as your browser, but you need to make that your default search engine because by default it's Google. So we're going to click Set as Default, and we might actually have to go here into our settings, and under Search, we want to make sure that it is in fact DuckDuckGo for anonymity. And at this point, you can surf the web 100% privately and securely. And again, it's not the fastest connection, but it's actually not horrible. Just understand that while you're surfing the web, it is going to be a little bit slower because it is going through multiple relays. One last thing I want to tell you is if you did not enable persistence when you booted to this flash drive, anything you save, even your Wi-Fi password, is not going to be saved. Every single time you boot to that drive, it's going to be like the very first time. And as an example, this is another great feature. If you were to just yank the flash drive out, boom, just like that, whatever you're doing is gone. Another thing I want to mention is if you decide to just pull that flash drive out like that, make sure that whatever is on the screen is minimized, because even after you remove that flash drive, that information could remain on the screen for a second or two, and depending on what you're doing, that could potentially be an issue. So make sure it's minimized, and then when you pull that flash drive out, boom, you're done. Any three-letter agency can plug this drive in and have no idea what you were just doing. Now, if you have persistence enabled, you will need to put a password on it so that if you have that persistence enabled, in other words, file storing, like the whistleblower document, you will have to have a password in order to get into that persistence part of the drive. But again, if you don't give the password out, nobody can access it. Another thing I would recommend is if you have something serious on this drive, for example, a whistleblower document, don't leave your only copy on this drive. Drives do go bad. Something may happen. You may wash them in your jeans and forget about it. Try to remember to make a backup copy somewhere, but for anonymity, you can keep it on here and absolutely continue to use it knowing you're 100% private and safe and anonymous online. So I hope you enjoyed that little exploration into true anonymity. And for a lot of you, especially Windows users, you may have heard about Linux and how it has a lot more privacy built in. Now, going with Tails is kind of an extreme, but if you are concerned about privacy, you may consider giving Linux a chance. And if that's the case, I made a video over here showing you how you can easily go test out all kinds of different Linux distributions to see which one might work best for you. Let me know in the comments what you think about Tails and whether or not you feel safer using it. And as always, thank you so much for watching.